Welcome, dear listener, to another gentle journey through the corridors of time. I am your sleepy historian, here to guide you through the quiet echoes of the past, in a manner both soothing and illuminating. Tonight, we will immerse ourselves in the mysterious nighttime rituals of monks, those silent custodians of faith and discipline, whose lives often unfolded in shadows and candlelight. This is a story meant not to excite, but to relax, to help you drift into rest as you accompany me on a soft-spoken history voyage. If this kind of storytelling brings you a sense of calm, feel free to like the video and subscribe, but only if it genuinely brings you peace. And perhaps leave a comment, letting me know where you're listening from and what hour it is. It is strangely comforting to know who else is out there, quietly falling asleep to the same gentle recitations of history. Dim the lights, allow the world's noise to fade, and let the rhythmic cadence of centuries past guide you toward rest. In this video, you will hear the whispers of cloistered monasteries, the soft rustling of robes across stone floors, and the measured breathing of men devoted to nightly contemplation. We will explore, in detail, their daily rhythms, their solemn prayers, and the intricate ceremonies that mark the passage from dusk to dawn. Each segment has been carefully structured to help you feel immersed yet undisturbed, blending rich sensory details with historical depth, all in a calm and measured pace. Tonight, we will divide our exploration into 4 distinct segments. First, an immersion into daily monastic life. Next, an intimate look at the biography of a notable monk and his contributions. Then, a gentle journey into the mysteries, archaeology, and cultural practices that surround these nocturnal observances. And finally, a contrast between the lives of ordinary monks and those of higher-ranking ecclesiastical figures, revealing the subtle rhythms that govern their world. Each segment will be further divided into 3 parts, allowing you to settle into a steady, comforting rhythm, perfect for bedtime relaxation. As we embark, remember the quiet patience of the monastic walls, the soft glow of lanterns reflecting on stone, and the distant echoes of chants that have carried through centuries. Imagine yourself there, wandering silently through cloisters, the night air heavy with the scent of incense and damp stone. This is history meant to lull you, to softly wrap you in a cocoon of calm as you drift alongside the monks through their night rituals. So, take a deep, slow breath. Settle into your space. Let the soft narration carry you, and let the mysteries of these ancient practices unfold gently before your mind's eye. Welcome to Boring History for Sleep. Welcome to your calm bedtime storytelling, and welcome to the serene, fascinating world of monks' nighttime rituals. Imagine yourself stepping through the heavy wooden doors of a monastery just as the evening mist begins to settle over the surrounding hills. The air is cool and carries the subtle fragrance of wet earth and aged timber, mingled with the faint aroma of incense lingering from the day's prayers. The monastery is a world apart, a sanctuary where time moves differently, measured by the rhythm of prayer, study, and quiet labor. Here, life is neither hurried nor idle. It follows a deliberate cadence, a gentle pattern that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. As you wander along the stone corridors, the faint echo of sandals on worn floors is the only sound besides the soft whisper of the wind through open windows. Monks move with intention, their steps unhurried, each footfall part of a larger ritual that spans from the first light of dawn to the dim hours of night. Their daily life is structured around the canonical hours, periods dedicated to prayer, meditation, and study, each seamlessly flowing into the next. Imagine the rhythmic chant of Vespers drifting through vaulted chambers, the resonant tones soothing both the ear and the mind. These chants, repeated over centuries, create a tranquil backdrop to the otherwise simple and methodical routines of the monks. Food in the monastery is modest but prepared with care, often in communal kitchens where the gentle clatter of wooden spoons and the quiet murmur of conversation form a soft symphony. Imagine the sight of simple earthenware bowls filled with hearty stews, the steam curling in slow spirals toward the low-ceiling beams. Meals are taken in near silence, the focus on sustenance and reflection rather than indulgence. Even in these ordinary moments, there's a profound sense of ritual, a mindful attention to each act, each movement, each gesture. Work is another essential thread in the fabric of daily monastic life. Gardens are tended with patient diligence, herbs and vegetables planted in neat rows, each leaf and stem carefully nourished. In the scriptorium, illuminated manuscripts take shape under steady hands, ink flowing in meticulous lines across delicate parchment. The quiet scratching of quills against vellum is nearly imperceptible, yet it carries the weight of centuries of knowledge being preserved. Imagine sitting in a corner of this chamber, observing a monk trace gilded letters, the flickering candlelight casting elongated shadows, creating a soft, almost hypnotic dance across the walls. Nighttime rituals begin to emerge as the sun dips lower. The cloisters are bathed in a dim, golden glow from oil lamps and lanterns, flickering against the stone, creating moving patterns that seem almost alive. The monks move silently, their breath steady, their focus inward. The air feels heavier now, laden with the incense burned to mark the transition from day to night. Each action, from the folding of robes to the careful handling of sacred texts, is imbued with purpose. You can almost sense the centuries of practice behind each gesture, each silent step, each measured breath. The quiet of the monastery is not empty. It is filled with intention, devotion, and a gentle, constant rhythm that encourages your own mind to settle and release the concerns of the day. Even as night deepens, the world within the monastery remains luminous, a place where every flicker of light, every soft echo, every whispered prayer seems magnified by the stillness. The monks' lives are simple yet deeply ordered, the very simplicity forming a tranquil lullaby for those willing to observe. Imagine yourself leaning against a cold stone pillar, listening to the subtle hum of a world that continues with steadfast consistency, a life measured not by the passage of hours on a clock, but by the heartbeat of ritual, devotion, and quiet labor. Here, time feels malleable, stretching and contracting, yet never rushing. The night is long, but the rhythm of monastic life creates a comforting framework, a soft, steady pulse that guides the mind gently toward repose. And as you absorb these details, the distant chant, the flicker of lamplight, the scent of herbs and incense, you begin to feel a part of this ancient, serene world, one footstep at a time, one quiet moment at a time. This is the first step into understanding the life of monks during their nocturnal hours, a life of calm devotion, of measured steps, of quiet purpose. As night deepens within the monastery, the rhythm of daily life shifts subtly but purposefully. Imagine yourself walking through the quiet corridors once more, your footsteps softened by the worn stone floors, the echo of distant chanting a gentle guide through shadowed spaces. The lamps now cast a warmer, more intimate glow, flickering as if breathing along with the calm, measured pace of the monks. Each chamber, cloister, and scriptorium feels alive, yet hushed, a space designed not for distraction but for reflection, a gentle cocoon of ritual and stillness. Even as the external world fades into darkness, inside the monastery, life continues in its disciplined serenity. Some monks move toward the refectory, not for a meal, but for the quiet task of preparing for the next day. Wooden tables are arranged neatly, benches aligned with precision, and small oil lamps are positioned to catch every corner of the room. The act of preparation is methodical, sweeping, polishing, arranging supplies. Each motion is unhurried, deliberate, almost meditative. Imagine the soft scrape of a broom across stone, the faint clinking of utensils, all harmonizing with the distant sound of chanted prayers carried down the corridors. There is a profound sense of order in these small, unremarkable tasks, an understated elegance that mirrors the larger spiritual discipline of monastic life. The monks' nightly prayers form another layer in this tapestry of quiet activity. Gathered in small chapels or private cells, they kneel or stand with steady posture, their hands folded or raised, their voices merging in soft, unhurried recitations. You might hear the gentle intonation of psalms, each word pronounced with care, each pause measured. The repetition, far from monotonous, becomes hypnotic, a soothing rhythm that invites your mind to drift. Imagine the delicate scent of burning incense, curling upward in slow spirals, mingling with the earthy aroma of stone and wooden beams. These sensory details are subtle, yet deeply grounding, a soft anchor as the monastery transitions fully into night. Meanwhile, some monks devote themselves to study or silent contemplation. Picture a scholar in a shadowed corner, a faint candle illuminating a text rich with faded ink and delicate illustrations. Each page, turned, is deliberate, each notation carefully made in margins. There is no rush here. Time stretches and contracts according to focus and reflection rather than the ticking of a clock. The ambient sounds, the soft turning of parchment, the distant footfall of another monk, the whisper of wind through an open window, form a gentle, almost hypnotic background. This quiet diligence, sustained over hours, is as much a part of the night ritual as prayer itself. Outside the cloistered walls, the night is deep and still. The wind stirs the treetops and carries a faint chill that slips through partially open windows. Inside, the monks remain insulated from the world's chaos, immersed in their own steady, measured universe. Imagine passing a small garden plot, the outlines of herbs and vegetables barely visible in the dim glow of lanterns, each plant tended with patience and care. Even in darkness, life is present, cultivated with intention, much like the spiritual growth pursued through prayer and meditation. As the hours progress, these nocturnal rituals blend seamlessly with rest. Some monks retreat to their small chambers, the simplicity of the room, a straw mattress, a woolen blanket, a small lamp, mirroring the quiet contentment that comes from a day fully lived in purpose. The cool stone walls absorb the ambient sounds, creating a soft, encompassing silence. Here, the boundary between activity and repose is delicate. Even stillness is infused with rhythm, a slow, gentle pulse echoing the cadence of monastic life. In these quiet hours, one begins to understand the unique intimacy of a monastery at night. The life of monks is measured not by dramatic events or sudden movements, but by the constancy of ritual, the repetition of gestures, and the gentle unfolding of the evening. Each breath, each whisper of cloth, each faint scrape of a quill is part of a larger, enduring pattern. Imagine yourself seated in a corner of the cloister, eyes half closed, absorbing the subtle harmony of life that flows softly around you. It is a world meticulously ordered, yet effortlessly calming, an embrace of serenity that prepares both the monks and any observer for the quiet passage into sleep. As the monastery settles deeper into night, the quiet rhythm of monastic life becomes even more pronounced. Imagine yourself moving along the cloisters once again, your footsteps softened by centuries of worn stone, your senses attuned to the subtle sounds and scents around you. The occasional murmur of a distant chant, the gentle flicker of candlelight, and the faint whisper of wind through open windows combine into a soothing symphony, a lullaby woven by centuries of devotion. Here, in this tranquil, nocturnal world, every gesture has its place, every breath, and history embedded in every surface. The flickering light casts elongated shadows, contributes to the overarching harmony. Some monks rise for private reflection, moving with delicate care, so as not to disturb the rest. They carry lanterns whose soft glow illuminates the textures of stone and wood, highlighting the imperfections that dance gently across walls, creating a sense of motion that is both mesmerizing and serene. Imagine the feel of cool stone under your fingertips as you trace the edges of a column, the faint scent of incense lingering in the air, mingling with the earthy aroma of the cloister garden just beyond an arched doorway. Each element, the light, the scent, the stone, works in harmony to lull both body and mind into a gentle, meditative state. The night is also a time for contemplation and scholarly pursuit. Picture a monk seated in a quiet scriptorium, a manuscript open before him, delicate quill in hand. The careful stroke of ink forms words that have carried through centuries, their meanings preserved in the meticulous attention to detail. Candlelight glimmers off gilded edges, creating a soft halo around the text, while the ambient silence allows the mind to focus deeply yet gently. Occasionally, the scratching of quill against parchment is joined by the distant shuffle of another monk returning from nocturnal vigil, reinforcing the sense of a shared rhythm that stretches across the monastery. Outside, the cloister garden rests in the embrace of night. Moonlight filters through the branches, revealing the silhouettes of carefully tended herbs and flowers, their leaves still glistening from a recent evening dew. The air carries a cool, slightly damp fragrance, a natural contrast to the warm interior spaces illuminated by lanterns and candles. Imagine walking slowly along these paths, noticing the subtle textures of each stone, the gentle sway of leaves in the night breeze, and the soft, almost imperceptible rustle of nocturnal creatures hidden in the shadows. In these moments, the monastery feels like a living organism, each space and sound contributing to a calm, overarching rhythm. The final hours before midnight are devoted to both communal and solitary prayer. Some monks gather in the main chapel, kneeling in quiet devotion, while others retreat to private cells, their meditation punctuated only by slow, measured breathing. The soft echo of chants in vaulted chambers, the distant rustle of robes, and the faint crackle of candle flames create an environment designed to focus attention inward, promoting reflection and spiritual presence. Imagine leaning against a column, feeling the cool stone through your robe, listening to this ambient chorus. It is neither loud nor demanding, yet it fills the mind gently, guiding it toward calm introspection. As the night deepens further, the line between activity and rest becomes increasingly delicate. The monastery is at once alive and suspended, its rhythm steady, predictable, and profoundly comforting. You may notice the contrast between the warmth of the lit interior and the cool darkness outside, the juxtaposition itself offering a gentle grounding effect. Within these walls, time seems suspended, the hours measured not by clock, but by breath, movement, and the quiet unfolding of ritual. Even as you prepare to leave this segment of the monastery in your mind, consider the life of a single monk who may soon become the focus of our next journey. Imagine him rising silently, walking through these same cloisters, performing tasks both simple and sacred, his day-to-day actions forming the foundation of a story that extends beyond individual moments into a life of quiet dedication. This gentle continuity between daily rhythm and individual biography will guide us into the next segment, where we explore the life and contributions of one remarkable monk, whose actions illuminate the broader practices of monastic nocturnal devotion. Here in these quiet, candle-lit spaces with the scent of incense and herbs in the air, we find the essence of monastic nighttime life. Calm, orderly, and deeply immersive, inviting both monks and observers alike to rest within the rhythm of centuries-old practices. As the monastery settles deeper into night, the quiet rhythm of monastic life becomes even more pronounced. Imagine yourself moving along the cloisters once again, your footsteps softened by centuries of worn stone, your senses attuned to the subtle sounds and scents around you. The occasional murmur of a distant chant, the gentle flicker of candlelight, and the faint whisper of wind through open windows combine into a soothing symphony, a lullaby woven by centuries of devotion. Here, in this tranquil, nocturnal world, every gesture has its place, every breath. and history embedded in every surface. The flickering light casts elongated shadows, contributes to the overarching harmony. Some monks rise for private reflection, moving with delicate care so as not to disturb the rest. They carry lanterns whose soft glow illuminates the textures of stone and wood, highlighting the imperfections that dance gently across walls, creating a sense of motion that is both mesmerizing and serene. Imagine the feel of cool stone under your fingertips as you trace the edges of a column, the faint scent of incense lingering in the air, mingling with the earthy aroma of the cloister garden just beyond an arched doorway. Each element, the light, the scent, the stone, works in harmony to lull both body and mind into a gentle, meditative state. The night is also a time for contemplation and scholarly pursuit. Picture a monk seated in a quiet scriptorium, a manuscript open before him, delicate quill in hand. The careful stroke of ink forms words that have carried through centuries, their meanings preserved in the meticulous attention to detail. Candlelight glimmers off gilded edges, creating a soft halo around the text, while the ambient silence allows the mind to focus deeply yet gently. Occasionally, the scratching of quill against parchment is joined by the distant shuffle of another monk returning from nocturnal vigil, reinforcing the sense of a shared rhythm that stretches across the monastery. Outside, the cloister garden rests in the embrace of night. Moonlight filters through the branches, revealing the silhouettes of carefully tended herbs and flowers, their leaves still glistening from a recent evening dew. The air carries a cool, slightly damp fragrance, a natural contrast to the warm interior spaces illuminated by lanterns and candles. Imagine walking slowly along these paths, noticing the subtle textures of each stone, the gentle sway of leaves in the night breeze, and the soft, almost imperceptible rustle of nocturnal creatures hidden in the shadows. In these moments, the monastery feels like a living organism, each space and sound contributing to a calm, overarching rhythm. The final hours before midnight are devoted to both communal and solitary prayer. Some monks gather in the main chapel, kneeling in quiet devotion, while others retreat to private cells, their meditation punctuated only by slow, measured breathing. The soft echo of chants in vaulted chambers, the distant rustle of robes, and the faint crackle of candle flames create an environment designed to focus attention inward, promoting reflection and spiritual presence. Imagine leaning against a column, feeling the cool stone through your robe, listening to this ambient chorus. It is neither loud nor demanding, yet it fills the mind gently, guiding it toward calm introspection. As the night deepens further, the line between activity and rest becomes increasingly delicate. The monastery is at once alive and suspended, its rhythm steady, predictable, and profoundly comforting. You may notice the contrast between the warmth of the lit interior and the cool darkness outside, the juxtaposition itself offering a gentle grounding effect. Within these walls, time seems suspended, the hours measured not by clock, but by breath, movement, and the quiet unfolding of ritual. Even as you prepare to leave this segment of the monastery in your mind, consider the life of a single monk who may soon become the focus of our next journey. Imagine him rising silently, walking through these same cloisters, performing tasks both simple and sacred, his day-to-day actions forming the foundation of a story that extends beyond individual moments into a life of quiet dedication. This gentle continuity between daily rhythm and individual biography will guide us into the next segment, where we explore the life and contributions of one remarkable monk, whose actions illuminate the broader practices of monastic nocturnal devotion. Here in these quiet, candle-lit spaces with the scent of incense and herbs in the air, we find the essence of monastic nighttime life. Calm, orderly, and deeply immersive, inviting both monks and observers alike to rest within the rhythm of centuries-old practices. As the night deepens, Brother Elric's personal devotion unfolds in ways that reveal both his discipline and curiosity. Imagine yourself moving quietly beside him as he prepares for the evening vespers, the soft glow of lanterns casting gentle light over the polished stone floors. The air is cool, carrying subtle scents of beeswax, herbs, and the lingering trace of incense. Each step he takes is measured, deliberate, part of a rhythm established over years of careful practice. He moves with a quiet attentiveness, aware of the sacred space around him, and yet his mind is alive with questions that stretch beyond the immediate tasks at hand. In these hours, Elric engages in tasks that are simple in form, but rich in purpose. Picture him arranging prayer books and sacred scrolls, ensuring that every object rests in precise alignment. Each candle is trimmed and lit with a practiced hand, the small flame casting a flickering warmth across the stone walls. This act, seemingly ordinary, is in fact a ritual in itself, a preparation for the sacred observances to come. The gentle repetition of these movements mirrors the larger rhythm of monastic life, fostering a calm atmosphere that invites contemplation both for the monks and for anyone quietly observing. Elric's scholarly pursuits continue alongside these nocturnal tasks. Imagine him opening an ancient codex, the parchment soft and slightly fragrant, its delicate ink glinting under the candlelight. He traces the lines of text with careful eyes, absorbing the knowledge preserved by generations before him. Occasionally, he pauses, reflecting on a passage that describes the routines of monks in far-off monasteries, their night rituals marked by unique ceremonies, chants, and meditative practices. The quiet absorption of this information feels almost like a conversation across time, a gentle whisper connecting past and present. As Vespers approach, Brother Elric joins a small group of monks in the chapel. Imagine the high vaulted ceilings, the dim glow of lanterns, and the soft resonance of their voices blending in unhurried harmony. The chants are neither loud nor insistent. They ebb and flow in a calming cadence, each syllable carrying a subtle vibration that seems to settle into the very stones. The ritual itself is simple yet profound. Gestures repeated with devotion, a gentle rhythm of movement, light, and sound that draws the mind inward. Observing this, one cannot help but sense the meditative precision that governs every action, the quiet order that transforms ordinary activity into sacred practice. After Vespers, Elric retreats to the cloister garden for solitary reflection. Imagine the moonlight bathing the carefully tended plants, highlighting the gentle curve of a fountain and casting long, soft shadows across stone paths. Here, he contemplates both spiritual matters and practical concerns, considering ways to preserve manuscripts, improve routines, or guide younger monks. The act of walking slowly, the faint rustle of his robes against the stone, and the rhythmic breathing of night create a calming continuity that extends beyond the immediate moment. Each step, each thought, each quiet observation blends seamlessly into the overarching flow of monastic life. In these contemplative hours, Elric occasionally observes the more mysterious elements of the monastery's nocturnal practices. Imagine him noticing subtle signs of ritual preparation, the careful placement of candles and patterns, the faint markings on stone floors for evening ceremonies, or the gentle chime of bells signaling transitions between meditation, prayer, and study. These elements, though understated, contribute to a sense of structure and sacred purpose. They hint at the deeper mysteries and traditions that have guided generations of monks, offering both a sense of continuity and a soft intrigue that invites the imagination to wander. By the end of this part of his night, Brother Elric has embodied both the diligence and quiet curiosity that define his personal journey. The combination of prayer, study, and gentle observation creates a serene environment, one that soothes the mind while leaving room for quiet reflection. Imagine yourself walking beside him one last time before he returns to his private cell, absorbing the gentle rhythms, the soft illumination, and the subtle hints of mystery that will carry us into our next exploration. the study of nocturnal rituals, and the enigmatic practices that have captivated historians and archaeologists alike. As the night grows deeper, Brother Elric's solitary reflections are occasionally punctuated by subtle signs of unusual nocturnal practices within the monastery. Imagine yourself following him through quiet stone corridors where the familiar rhythm of daily prayer has begun to mingle with quieter, more enigmatic activities. The soft glow of lanterns illuminates corners that are seldom observed during the day. Small alcoves holding objects whose purpose is known to few, narrow shelves lined with delicate scrolls, and faint markings on stone floors suggesting carefully measured movements. These are not moments of excitement, but rather gentle mysteries that hint at centuries of ritual tradition, layered beneath the surface of ordinary monastic life. Elric pauses near one of these spaces, noting the precise placement of objects. A bronze censer resting on a carved stone plinth, small vessels filled with fragrant herbs, and neatly folded cloths embroidered with subtle symbols. Each item is arranged with intention, evidence of ceremonies conducted at the quietest hours, when the monastery is draped in the soft hush of night. Imagine the faint scent of incense curling in the air, mingling with the earthy aroma of stone and damp gardens outside, creating an atmosphere both serene and subtly intriguing. The rituals themselves are understated, almost invisible to the casual observer, yet they form an invisible thread connecting generations of monks, each step and object imbued with significance and precision. Even as he moves carefully through these areas, Elric maintains his personal routine of study and reflection. Picture him kneeling beside a small candle, the flame illuminating an ancient manuscript that details both liturgical instructions and accounts of earlier monks' nocturnal observances. He traces the lines of script with deliberate fingers, absorbing the descriptions of chants, candle arrangements, and silent meditations performed at midnight. The words seem to whisper across centuries, a soft murmur of devotion and discipline. This quiet study not only preserves knowledge, but also connects him intimately to a lineage of contemplative practice, the mystery of these rituals deepening his own understanding of sacred life. Occasionally, Elric observes groups of monks engaging in coordinated evening practices. Imagine a small assembly moving slowly and methodically, placing candles in geometric patterns on the floor, performing gestures in precise sequence, and reciting prayers in a rhythm that seems almost hypnotic. The actions are deliberate but calm, the purpose sacred and quietly solemn. These rituals, though obscure in detail, contribute to a pervasive sense of order and serenity throughout the monastery. For an observer attuned to subtle nuances, the interplay of light, movement, and sound forms a meditative cadence that resonates deeply, inviting reflection and calm rather than excitement. Beyond the chapel and cloisters, the monastery houses hidden spaces where nocturnal rituals take on a more scholarly dimension. Imagine Elric entering a small chamber lined with manuscripts, relics, and delicate instruments whose exact functions are known only to those initiated in the monastery's deepest traditions. He examines these objects with both reverence and careful curiosity, noting the intricate craftsmanship and subtle symbolism embedded in each. The faint glimmer of candlelight across polished bronze, carved wood, and gilded parchment creates an almost hypnotic visual rhythm, reinforcing the quiet intimacy of these nocturnal practices. As the night reaches its deepest hours, Brother Elric returns to the scriptorium to continue his work on manuscripts, his mind attuned both to spiritual reflection and to the mysteries of ritual observation. The candlelight flickers softly, casting gentle shadows that stretch across the stone floors. Outside, the world remains still, the cool air carrying the distant sounds of rustling leaves and flowing water. Inside, the combination of study, observation, and participation in understated ceremonies forms a holistic experience, one that weaves together personal devotion, communal discipline, and the quiet intrigue of secretive nocturnal traditions. Through this gentle immersion in Brother Elric's nocturnal life, we begin to glimpse the subtler dimensions of monastic experience, the convergence of study, ritual, and quiet contemplation, all conducted in the enveloping calm of night. Imagine yourself walking beside him, feeling the rhythm of measured footsteps, absorbing the soft illumination of lanterns, and noticing the delicate placement of ritual objects. This intimacy between the ordinary and the mysterious lays the foundation for our next exploration, where we will delve more fully into the enigmatic practices, archaeological traces, and cultural nuances that surround monastic night rituals, deepening both intrigue and serenity. As we move from the intimate life of individual monks to the broader mysteries of monastic nocturnal practices, imagine yourself standing in the shadowed halls of a centuries-old monastery, where history is etched into every stone, every wooden beam, and every carefully maintained garden. The cool night air carries faint hints of incense, damp stone, and old parchment, weaving a sensory tapestry that is both soothing and subtly intriguing. Here, the past feels close, almost tangible, yet it whispers its secrets quietly, allowing the mind to wander without urgency. Archaeologists and historians have long been fascinated by the traces left behind in these nocturnal spaces. Imagine discovering a hidden chamber, revealed only through careful study of architectural plans and worn floor patterns. Within, faint markings on the stone floors suggest the measured steps of rituals long conducted under candlelight. Each worn indentation, each faint stain, each subtle etching holds clues to the disciplined movements of monks who lived centuries earlier. The patterns are neither chaotic nor alarming. They form a deliberate, almost hypnotic rhythm, reflecting a world where time was measured in prayer, contemplation, and nightly observances rather than by the ticking of a clock. Artifacts also offer a glimpse into the rituals themselves. Picture small, delicately crafted vessels, engraved with symbols whose meanings have faded with time, carefully arranged on stone altars. Bronze censers once carried incense through cloisters, leaving a lingering scent that modern visitors can almost imagine. Manuscripts reveal step-by-step instructions for nocturnal ceremonies, the precise timing of chants, the careful alignment of candles, the sequence of gestures and movements intended to focus the mind and spirit. These items, though silent, speak volumes to those willing to observe closely, offering insight into the dedication, precision, and subtle mystery of monastic life. Cultural practices further illuminate the nighttime world of the monastery. Imagine monks using coded signs or gestures to indicate transitions between private meditation and communal prayer. Symbols etched into walls or carved onto furniture guided both novices and experienced monks, creating an unspoken language of devotion and focus. In some monasteries, musical instruments such as soft bells or wooden clappers marked intervals of reflection, producing a gentle, ambient rhythm that echoed softly through stone corridors. Each practice was imbued with intent. Nothing was wasted, and every sound, gesture, or light contributed to a serene, contemplative environment. Even the architecture of monasteries themselves hints at these mysteries. Picture high vaulted ceilings that amplify the quiet resonance of chants, narrow passageways that direct movement with subtle elegance, and secluded gardens designed for nocturnal contemplation. The interplay of light and shadow, stone and timber, enclosed spaces and open courtyards all create a setting conducive to meditation, ritual, and introspection. Visitors today can sense these effects, even without understanding the full context, as the architecture guides attention inward and slows the pace of the mind. Archaeological studies have revealed additional subtle features. Hidden compartments in library shelves, discrete markings near staircases, and traces of candle wax arranged in patterns consistent with ritual use. Each discovery provides another layer of understanding, not only of the monks' spiritual practices, but also of the care and intentionality that shape their nocturnal routines. Imagine piecing together these fragments, observing the faint traces of human hands that have left enduring imprints across centuries, and realizing that every gesture, Every arrangement, every sound contributed to a cohesive and serene nocturnal world. By engaging with these artifacts and architectural features, we begin to see that the mysterious nighttime rituals of monks were not mere superstition or secrecy. They were carefully designed practices that fostered calm, reflection, and continuity. Imagine walking softly through a stone corridor, candlelight flickering, observing faint signs of past rituals, and sensing the presence of countless generations of monks who moved in quiet, measured devotion. This gentle exploration prepares the mind for deeper immersion, inviting reflection on the intricate interplay of history, culture, and the subtle mysteries that have guided monastic life for centuries. As the night deepens further, imagine yourself wandering through a monastery where centuries of quiet devotion have left faint, lingering traces. Every corner, every alcove, and every worn stone surface seems to hum with memory, carrying whispers of rituals long performed under the soft glow of candlelight. These subtle remnants of the past are not startling. Rather, they invite the mind to observe, reflect, and gently explore the practices of monks who move through the night with careful precision. Archaeologists examining monastic sites often uncover objects that hint at the deliberate structure of nocturnal life. Imagine delicate clay lamps, long extinguished, arranged along stone shelves as though waiting for an unseen hand to relight them. Their shapes are simple yet elegant, carefully designed to hold a flame steadily throughout the night. Nearby, fragments of manuscripts reveal notes in faded ink, detailing the alignment of candles, the timing of prayers, and the subtle gestures performed in silence. Each discovery is like a soft echo from the past, an invitation to witness the disciplined rhythm of a world that valued serenity, order, and devotion above all else. Some artifacts point to rituals that were both private and communal. Picture small alcoves where monks might have engaged in meditation, each space measured and arranged with intention. Softly carved symbols on walls and furniture indicated when a novice could approach, when a chant should begin, or when a gesture should be performed. These quiet guides were integrated seamlessly into daily life, allowing ceremonies to unfold without disruption, blending contemplation with subtle ceremony. Imagine the delicate scent of incense still lingering faintly in the air, mingling with the earthy smell of stone and aged wood, a sensory link to centuries of devotion. Monastic architecture itself speaks to these hidden practices. Picture vaulted ceilings that amplify a soft chant, narrow passageways that direct quiet movement, and secluded gardens that provide spaces for nocturnal reflection. Light and shadow interact in subtle ways. Candlelight flickers across stone floors. Moonlight filters through latticed windows, and every shadowed alcove seems to encourage inward focus. The design of these spaces is not dramatic. It is gentle, fostering calm and introspection while quietly guiding both monk and observer through a carefully structured nocturnal rhythm. Historical accounts suggest that some nocturnal practices were designed to heighten mindfulness and spiritual presence. Imagine a monk moving slowly through a candlelit cloister, pausing to observe the careful arrangement of objects, the precise folding of cloths, or the subtle placement of herbs. Each detail is intended to focus attention, to slow the mind, and to encourage reflection. These rituals, though rarely recorded in detail, leave traces in architecture, manuscripts, and artifacts that allow modern observers to piece together a serene and methodical world. Occasionally, subtle anomalies in these spaces attract further investigation. Imagine faint carvings that differ slightly from one corridor to the next, or the arrangement of candle holders forming patterns whose meanings have been partially lost over time. Archaeologists and historians interpret these with care, drawing gentle connections between material culture and ritual practice. It is not a story of mystery in the dramatic sense, but rather a quiet puzzle. How intention, repetition, and devotion combine to create a serene nocturnal environment that has persisted across generations. Through these artifacts and architectural features, the monastery becomes a living lesson in calm observation. Imagine standing in a quiet chapel, absorbing the faint echo of chants long performed, noticing the soft glow of lanterns illuminating ancient stone, and feeling the slow passage of time in a space shaped by devotion and ritual. Each object, each shadow, and each carefully arranged detail contributes to a cohesive and soothing narrative. This gentle investigation of past practices prepares the mind for the next segment, where we will explore the contrasting lives of monks and elites, revealing both simplicity and ceremony in parallel nocturnal worlds. As the night drifts toward its quietest hours, the monastery seems suspended in a delicate balance between ritual, contemplation, and the subtle mysteries of past centuries. Imagine yourself walking softly through its cloisters, the stone floors cool beneath your feet, the air carrying faint traces of incense, herbs, and the ever-present aroma of aged parchment. The interplay of light and shadow, candle flames flickering gently, moonlight streaming through narrow windows, creates a calm yet intriguing atmosphere. It is in this environment that the hidden layers of monastic practice become apparent, revealing not only devotion, but the careful structuring of time, space, and attention. Some nocturnal rituals were conducted in spaces deliberately set apart, accessible only to those initiated in their purpose. Imagine small chambers with stone benches, low candle holders, and faint inscriptions on walls indicating the sequence of gestures and recitations. Archaeological studies have shown that even the placement of objects, from bronze censers to delicate vessels, followed precise patterns, ensuring that every element contributed to both spiritual focus and ambient calm. These details are subtle, almost imperceptible to a casual observer, yet they exemplify the careful intention of generations of monks who shaped the rhythm of night with patience and devotion. Artifacts discovered in these spaces offer glimpses into the more enigmatic aspects of nocturnal life. Imagine a small manuscript tucked in a hidden shelf, its pages filled with diagrams and marginal notes describing meditative sequences, candle arrangements, and chants performed at midnight. Nearby, remnants of incense and traces of candle wax suggest rituals intended to heighten mindfulness and presence. None of these elements are startling. Instead, they invite reflection. The soft patterns of light and shadow, the faint scents, and the careful alignment of objects create a meditative environment designed to focus the mind gently, encouraging introspection rather than excitement. Even the architectural layout supports these subtle mysteries. Picture vaulted ceilings that amplify soft chants, long corridors that direct quiet movement, and secluded gardens where moonlight reflects off fountains and stone paths. Each space guides attention inward, encouraging observation, contemplation, and calm. Imagine walking through one of these gardens, noticing the subtle variations in stonework, the deliberate placement of plants, and the gentle murmur of water, all orchestrated to cultivate a reflective and serene nocturnal experience. The result is an environment where mystery is not sensational but quietly profound, embedded in the textures, scents, and rhythms of daily monastic life. Cultural practices reinforce this gentle intrigue. Monks used subtle cues, gestures, symbols, and arrangement of ritual objects to communicate transitions between meditation, prayer, and communal observances. These signs, often imperceptible to the uninitiated, ensured that the night unfolded with deliberate order, weaving individual devotion into a larger tapestry of collective calm. Imagine observing a monk pausing at a faint marking on the floor before continuing a sequence of movements, each step deliberate, measured, and mindful. These quiet practices reveal a world where ritual is as much about cultivating inner stillness as it is about external devotion. As we begin to notice these intricate nocturnal routines, a contrast slowly emerges: the serenity and discipline of monastic life versus the more lavish, structured routines of elite society. The artifacts, architecture, and rituals within the monastery demonstrate a focus on restraint, reflection, and gentle continuity. Imagine the quiet contrast. Stone halls and flickering candlelight versus richly decorated halls, elaborate feasts, and ceremonial displays of status elsewhere in the same historical period. Recognizing these differences allows us to appreciate both worlds, each shaped by its own values, demands, and rhythms. By observing these subtle details, ritual spaces, architectural nuances, and carefully arranged objects, we gain insight into the serene, yet layered complexity of monastic nocturnal life. Imagine standing quietly in a chamber where centuries of devotion have unfolded, feeling the calm pulse of structured ritual, noticing the soft glow of candlelight illuminating faint inscriptions, and sensing the careful orchestration that defines the monk's night. This gentle immersion prepares us for the next segment, where we will explore contrasting daily lives of the elite, observing the interplay of ceremony, luxury, and structure that exists alongside monastic simplicity. As we leave the quiet, candlelit corridors of the monastery behind, imagine stepping into the more opulent world of the medieval elite, where nighttime life is shaped by ceremony, comfort, and carefully maintained status. The atmosphere is very different, yet it retains a sense of measured rhythm. Picture richly decorated halls, tapestries hanging along the walls, and the soft glow of numerous candles reflecting off polished wooden panels and gilded surfaces. Unlike the restrained spaces of the monastery, here the senses are engaged in multiple layers. The faint scent of herbs and perfumed oils, the subtle crackle of multiple hearths, and the muted clinking of silver and glassware as attendants prepare for evening rituals. In these halls, the structure of nightly routines is guided by both necessity and ceremony. Imagine the lord or lady of the household moving slowly through long corridors, accompanied by attendants who quietly light sconces or adjust draperies. Every action is deliberate. Robes are adjusted, manuscripts or accounts are consulted, and candles are positioned to maximize both visibility and aesthetic effect. The rhythm is neither hurried nor chaotic. It is composed, rehearsed over time, and designed to maintain comfort while reinforcing hierarchy. Each movement, each sound, contributes to an environment of gentle luxury, contrasting sharply with the monastic emphasis on restraint and reflection. Evening meals and private discussions form a subtle centerpiece of elite nighttime life. Picture a long, polished table set with carefully arranged dishes, the faint aroma of roasted herbs and spiced bread mingling with the warmth of the hearth. Attendants move quietly, their gestures precise, ensuring that the household functions smoothly without disturbing the calm order. Imagine the interplay of light and shadow from flickering candles and the fire, highlighting rich textures of fabric and carved wood, while faint murmurs of conversation carry a soft cadence that complements the visual splendor. In these moments, the sense of ritual is present, though it is grounded in comfort and ceremonial propriety rather than spiritual devotion. The elite's engagement with nocturnal learning and reflection takes a different form than that of monks. Imagine a noble reading by candlelight, manuscripts open before them, tracing delicate script with a practiced hand. The surrounding room, adorned with tapestries, polished floors, and ornamental furnishings, creates an environment designed to soothe and impress simultaneously. The rhythm of study and contemplation is slow and deliberate, yet the presence of objects indicating status, gilded pens, inlaid boxes, and polished ink pots, adds a layer of sensory richness absent in monastic spaces. Each object, each texture, each reflection of candlelight contributes to a gentle, luxurious meditation on knowledge and tradition. Even leisure is orchestrated with quiet precision. Imagine music played softly on a lute or small harp, the notes weaving around the stone and timber of the hall, harmonizing with the crackle of fires and occasional footsteps of attendants. The ambient sounds are calming rather than jarring, forming a nocturnal symphony that encourages reflection, conversation, or gentle movement. Attentive listeners might notice how this environment mirrors monastic attention to rhythm and space, but it does so within a context of refined comfort and aesthetic sophistication rather than austerity. Outside, the night extends its presence in subtle ways. Imagine the soft flicker of lanterns along a garden path, the reflection of moonlight on fountains, and the faint rustle of leaves in enclosed courtyards. In these moments, even elite life acknowledges a connection to natural rhythms, employing architecture, light, and sound to guide attention inward and foster calm. The contrast with monastic life lies in the layering of luxury, ceremony, and sensory detail, yet both share a careful orchestration of movement, observation, and reflection that defines nighttime experience. Through this exploration of elite nocturnal life, we begin to appreciate the duality of historical nighttime routines. The monastery emphasizes restraint, meditation, and quiet devotion, while the elite world layers comfort, ceremony, and subtle spectacle atop a similarly deliberate rhythm. Imagine moving between these two realms, sensing the difference in textures, sounds, and scents, and noticing how each environment cultivates calm and attention in its own distinct way. This gentle contrast sets the stage for part 2, where we will delve deeper into elite routines, examining the interplay of ritual, luxury, and quiet reflection that defines nocturnal life for those accustomed to privilege. As night stretches further, imagine yourself moving quietly through the private chambers of a noble household. The atmosphere is composed and deliberate, shaped by centuries of ritualized luxury. Soft candlelight flickers across polished floors, gilded surfaces, and tapestries that depict distant lands and ancestral deeds. Each object, each texture, and each gentle sound has been arranged to maintain a quiet sense of order and comfort, much like the carefully structured spaces of monastic life, though here the emphasis rests on refinement and aesthetic pleasure rather than austerity. Evening rituals often blend practicality with understated ceremony. Picture attendants moving with measured steps, adjusting candles to illuminate manuscripts or accounts, folding robes with precision, and ensuring the quiet hum of household activity continues without interruption. The lord or lady of the house may pause to observe these arrangements, tracing the soft flicker of light across their surroundings, noting the careful alignment of objects, and appreciating the tactile harmony of finely woven textiles and polished wood. In these moments, the house itself seems to breathe, responding to the deliberate rhythm of human activity while maintaining a gentle, enveloping calm. Study and reflection occupy a central place in elite nocturnal routines. Imagine a noble tracing the lines of a manuscript, candlelight glinting on gilded edges, soft whispers of parchment brushing against polished desks. The focus is meticulous, yet the environment remains serene. The crackle of fires, the muted rustle of tapestries, and the occasional soft murmur of an attendant all create a layered soundscape that guides attention inward. Objects such as ink pots, finely carved pens, and delicate seals are not merely functional. They're carefully arranged elements that enhance the contemplative experience. Here, the act of study becomes a ritual, echoing the slow and deliberate routines of monastic life, while emphasizing aesthetic richness and personal comfort. Even leisure is orchestrated with quiet attentiveness. Picture soft music, a lute or harp played with gentle precision, filling a hall with harmonic notes that mingle with the warmth of the hearth and the flickering candlelight. Conversations, when they occur, are measured, each word considered, each gesture deliberate. The aim is neither to excite nor to entertain excessively, but to maintain an atmosphere of calm attentiveness, allowing thoughts and reflections to drift gently through the space. The sensory layers, sound, light, scent, and texture, work in harmony, guiding the mind toward introspection and quiet awareness. Nighttime dining, though modest in pace compared to grand feasts, is a carefully structured activity. Imagine a polished table set with small plates of spiced bread, roasted herbs, and simple fruits. Candles cast a warm glow, highlighting the textures and colors of the food, while attendants move silently to replenish dishes or adjust lighting. The experience is ceremonial, emphasizing mindfulness and appreciation rather than indulgence. Even the tactile sensation of lifting a goblet, the subtle aroma of roasted herbs, and the gentle reflection of light on silverware become part of a composed, almost meditative rhythm. The interplay between light and shadow is particularly striking in elite nocturnal spaces. Picture the soft gleam of moonlight filtering through latticed windows, mingling with candle flames to create layered patterns across walls and floors. Shadows stretch and recede in a gentle, hypnotic rhythm, mirroring the measured pace of human activity within. Every object, every gesture, and every sound contributes to a harmonious nocturnal environment, where reflection, comfort, and subtle ritual coexist seamlessly. Through this exploration of elite nightlife, the contrast with monastic practice become clear, yet a shared principle emerges. Both worlds cultivate calm, order, and intentionality. Whereas monks emphasize restraint and spiritual focus, the elite incorporate comfort, luxury, and aesthetic pleasure, yet both employ deliberate rituals and structured attention to guide nighttime experience. Imagine moving through both spaces in parallel, sensing the differences in scent, texture, sound, and light, yet appreciating the shared rhythm of reflection and gentle ceremony. This understanding prepares the mind for the final part of our journey, where the day's stories culminate in a reflective, calming conclusion. As night reaches its quietest hours, the routines of the elite shift from outward ceremony to inward reflection. Imagine yourself walking softly through the chambers of a medieval manor, where candlelight dances on polished floors, gilded surfaces, and tapestries that depict distant landscapes or family histories. The warmth of the hearth spreads gently through the hall, mingling with the faint fragrance of herbs, oils, and the lingering aroma of evening meals. Every detail is arranged to cultivate a sense of order, calm, and thoughtful presence. The household prepares for rest in a slow, deliberate rhythm. Picture attendants moving quietly through the corridors, extinguishing candles no longer needed, folding tapestries to preserve their shape, and placing delicate vessels or objects in positions of care. The lord or lady of the house may pause to reflect on the day's affairs, reviewing notes, observing the alignment of manuscripts or objects, or tracing the soft glow of light across a polished desk. Each action, no matter how small, is imbued with purpose, transforming ordinary tasks into quiet rituals that foster mental clarity and a sense of closure for the day. Evening study continues alongside these rituals. Imagine a noble leaning over a manuscript, candlelight illuminating gilded text and margins filled with careful annotations. The surrounding room, though rich in ornamentation, maintains a subdued atmosphere. The crackle of the hearth, the gentle rustle of fabrics, and the soft hum of distant conversation form a layered soundscape that encourages reflection. Each sensory element, light, texture, scent, and sound, is orchestrated to support calm attentiveness, allowing the mind to drift gently between memory, observation, and contemplation. Leisure, too, is carefully structured. Imagine soft music filling the halls, a harp, a lute, or a quietly played flute producing melodic patterns that harmonize with the flickering candlelight and the warmth of the fire. Conversations are measured, gestures deliberate, and laughter gentle. The goal is neither excitement nor stimulation, but subtle engagement, a shared rhythm of presence, a quiet acknowledgement of the day's passing, and an invitation to rest. Even seemingly mundane activities, such as pouring wine, adjusting cushions, or arranging flowers, are executed with precision, becoming small, meditative gestures that ease the mind toward tranquility. As night deepens further, outdoor spaces become an extension of these routines. Imagine walking through a courtyard or moonlit garden, lanterns casting soft shadows on stone pathways, fountains producing a gentle, rhythmic murmur, and foliage rustling quietly in the evening breeze. These moments of quiet reflection connect the elite with both nature and time's slow passage, mirroring, in some respects, the contemplative walks of monks through cloisters and gardens. The contrast lies in emphasis, luxury, aesthetic detail, and comfort here versus restraint, meditation, and spiritual devotion there. Yet both environments share a careful orchestration of light, sound, and movement to guide attention inward. By observing these final nocturnal rituals, we see how elite life, like monastic life, relies on deliberate structure to foster calm and reflection. Candlelight, shadows, carefully arranged objects, soft music, and quiet movement form a gentle symphony that allows the mind to transition from activity to rest. Imagine moving through these spaces, noticing how the alignment of objects, the placement of light, and the subtleties of sound guide thought toward serenity. This measured rhythm, cultivated over generations, reveals the thoughtful care with which nocturnal life was shaped, whether for devotion, study, or comfort. Through these observations, we come to appreciate the duality of historical nighttime life. The monastery offers restraint, meditation, and quiet ritual, while elite households provide comfort, aesthetic pleasure, and structured reflection. Both share an underlying principle. Intentionality and calm guide the transition from day to night, allowing the body and mind to settle into rest. Imagine walking through both worlds, absorbing the flicker of candlelight, the soft resonance of music or chants, the textures of stone, wood, and fabric, and feeling the gentle pull towards stillness. This final exploration naturally prepares us for a concluding reflection, where the stories of monks, nobles, and their nocturnal worlds merge into a gentle meditation on history, calm, and the comfort of night. As our journey through the quiet nights of history draws to a close, imagine yourself pausing in the stillness of both monastic cloisters and noble halls. The flicker of candlelight has long since softened. The soft murmur of chants or gentle music fades into memory, and the world outside rests under the calm watch of moonlight. Throughout the centuries, these spaces, whether austere or luxurious, have been shaped by intention, rhythm, and subtle ritual, each detail designed to guide the body and mind toward serenity. In monasteries, the night was a space for reflection, devotion, and gentle meditation. Stone corridors, vaulted ceilings, and secluded gardens facilitated slow, deliberate movements and quiet study, each step measured and each gesture imbued with purpose. In elite households, the night combined comfort, ceremony, and aesthetic pleasure, guiding attention through candlelit halls, polished surfaces, soft music, and structured leisure. Both worlds, while distinct in texture, scent, and light, share a profound principle. Intentionality shapes experience, and gentle routines ease the transition from activity to rest. Imagine yourself walking softly through these spaces one last time. In the monastery, the scent of incense lingers faintly on the stone air. Manuscripts rest quietly on worn desks, and the echo of centuries-old chants still whispers in shadowed alcoves. In the noble hall, tapestries glow softly in candlelight. The gentle warmth of a hearth caresses the senses, and moonlight plays across garden paths where fountains murmur their quiet rhythm. In both, the night is not simply the absence of day, but a cultivated space for reflection, calm, and continuity, a bridge between activity and rest, history and the present. As you let your mind drift along these corridors, gardens, and halls, notice how history unfolds gently before you. The monk's restraint and devotion, the noble's comfort and structured reflection, and the subtle details of ritual, architecture, and sensory harmony all converge into a serene tableau. Imagine the soft cadence of movement, the warm glow of light, and the gentle layering of scent, sound, and texture guiding your thoughts into calmness. Even as the centuries separate us from these practices, their rhythms continue to resonate, offering a quiet invitation to rest. If this storytelling has helped you settle into a gentler pace, feel free to like the video and subscribe, but only if it truly brings you peace. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is. It is oddly comforting to know who else is out there, letting history's soft rhythms guide them towards sleep. Dim the lights. Let the past whisper its secrets, and allow yourself to drift, wrapped in the quiet order and reflective calm of nocturnal worlds that have endured through centuries. Good night, and may your sleep be as serene as the candlelit halls and moonlit gardens we have quietly explored together.